Hello everybody, welcome to the first installment of Tea and Dollies, where we talk about things. And I am here with a beautiful cup of hot tea. I'm drinking herbal tea. It's called Lazy People's Tea. Very fitting. And the topic of today is the joy of collecting slowly in a fast-paced world. Wow, that sounds romantic. Which it kind of is, actually. It's really nice. I've been a collector my whole life, so while I'm not the oldest person on the planet, I do have a few thoughts that I think I can share. Well, I recently watched a video by Levi Hildebrand on collecting and how it kind of became a consumerism thingy. And he talked about a few things that really got me thinking. Well, he also mentioned that in the past, collecting was something that only a small percentage of people would do, and it would be a long journey, something to do over years, even decades of one's life. It was mainly something for weird people, so we know who we are. Anyway, I have always been a collector. I have collected everything. I went through a lot of collections that I kind of have given up at some point because I discovered minimalism, which I'm sure you cannot see at all, which is fine. Oh, tea is still too hot. I think collecting is beautiful, really beautiful. And I personally have very mixed feelings about what consumerism is turning collecting into, because I do believe that a collection is meaningful if it takes up a long time. I've been collecting specifically dolls for over 9 years at this point, and my collection has grown, my collection has changed, my interests and my aesthetic preferences have also changed. For example, I used to be more into natural face-ups in the past, and now I want all of them to have something crazy on their face. The beautiful thing about ball-jointed dolls is that it's a very slow hobby. You have wait times of usually at least 6 months, sometimes up to 2 years, if you're very lucky. It's also a hobby that is quite expensive, so usually you have to save up money for it. And, I think the fact that it is this slow is why it is so enjoyable. While the waiting, the thinking, and the dreaming is kind of the most exciting part of it. Looking at dolls online, comparing bodies, comparing faces, dreaming of dolls. Well, I had a slow burn. Let me show you this guy. Doll Chateau Allen. I have mentioned already in the past, I think, that this was my Grail doll. But the moment I saw him online, I was obsessed. Like, obsessed. And it took me around, I think, 4 or 5 years until I got him. And all this time, I was making up his character, making up his personality. Well, in fact, the reason why this character exists in my story is because I wanted the doll. And I have this weird thing where I need a character to justify a doll. The only doll that doesn't need a character for me to have is the Froggy, and that's about it. But Alan was really a doll I've been talking about nonstop. I think I was so obsessed, I even had a folder on my phone where I saved literally every single picture of this doll I could find, and I was really obsessing over this doll. And it's not like he was hard to get, but somehow I was like, no, I cannot get him yet. I think I wanted to buy him myself, because when I started out, I was a teenager. I wanted to have him myself. And then at some point I also decided that I'm only going to be collecting secondhand dolls, which is a thing that I'm not doing anymore, I guess. Still mainly secondhand dolls because it's more convenient. So I got him secondhand. I put him, this head, actually it was completely ridiculous, and I remember why I did it, but I put this head on a 4-month layaway. It was a €100 head. Anyway, the most beautiful thing, at least for me, about the collecting is the anticipation, because your mind is full of dreams and potential for this one doll. Like, what's this eye color? What wig are you gonna make? What's his hairstyle? What clothes does he wear? You know, what is his character? And then you're just thinking about it. And this is, for me at least, where the real joy lies. And I'm gonna put him down, sip on my tea. Because while consumerism tells you to have a collection, and there's this mind of finishing a collection and having the thing, the real joy in collecting is not having it. It's actually the complete opposite. The real happiness of collecting is having something to look forward to, something to aspire to, something to save up for, something to work towards, you know? Because it just makes... Sure, we can just go on and buy everything at once, but where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in that? No, the fun in collecting is not having the thing and then going on and looking for it online for hours and hours and hours. Maybe waiting years. Her, for example, I've had a want to buy post up on Den of Angels for this head for around a year or two, and in between the years I always had it put up, and then I took it down, and then I put it back up. So I was looking for this head for a very long time, and now I have it. And her body will be here in a few weeks, which is great because I have so many ideas. See, she's not finished. I have so many ideas and I cannot wait. And this is what makes collecting so happy, so great. You know, because it's all the ideas, all the potential. And sure, when you have a finished doll, you know, the journey is what kind of... Yeah, it's all about, like, the journey is what brings you the happiness. It's about the journey, because it is. Because having a finished collection sitting on your shelf and staring at you, where you're like, okay, well, I don't know. And if you are into dolls, you probably are the kind of person that is familiar with the Moomins. I have all the books. I'm a big lover of the Moomins. I was read to them my whole life, ever since I was a kid. And, well, this is where collecting comes in too. Because this is the first book I had. And it's a special edition in the sense of, well, I wanted this particular publication edition. Because they have newer editions with a different design. And I did throw fits as a kid if the book was not fitting this particular publishing line. I wasn't I wasn't a horrible child, but I definitely was not an easy child. But my point is that in the Moomins, in one of the books, I believe it is actually this one, or maybe this. No, I think it's probably this one. Or is it this one? I don't remember. It's one of the first few. I think it's this one. Is it? Let me see. Yes. Well, actually this one. In this book, there is a scene where Moomin and his friends, they find the Hemul? I don't know what he's called in English, sorry. Crying in a cave. And the Hemul is also a collector. He collected stamps. And now he is crying, looking at his stamps. And everyone's like, wait, why are you crying? And he explains to them that he finished his stamp collection. And everyone's a bit confused at first because, like, isn't your goal of collecting to have it all finished and get everything? And it turns out no. Because now that he has every single stamp in the world, he's not a collector anymore. He's the owner of a collection. And there's no joy in that. And he is lamenting about burning them or destroying them in some way so that he does not have a full collection anymore, but and is not an owner of a collection anymore, but still a collector, because the joy is the collecting and not the owning, if that makes sense. And I have to say that this is metaphor, I don't know, a story from the book that really stuck with me, because I have been collecting actually also this edition of the Moomin books. There was a while where this edition was very expensive, and I was a kid and I did not have money, of course, and it was a bit too expensive for my mom to justify to buy them, until at some point they became very affordable, very cheap, and I found all of the missing books, because I was in my head, it was always like, well, they're very expensive and it's gonna take a long time until I can have the money to buy them. And then at some point I discovered, hey, the prices went down. So I picked out every single one secondhand online that I was missing, and I was like, Mom, I need these books. And I mean, she knew that I loved these books, so she bought them for me. And then in like one go, I had them all. And guess what it did? Nothing. It did not make me happy at all, because suddenly this whole thinking about these things and wishing for the collection and the editions and dreaming about it completely poof evaporated. And I was like, well, I really thought this would make me happy, but it really doesn't. And I think this is kind of something that we should consider in our collecting. And well, we don't really need to get into how consumerism, banking on collecting and pumping out even more and more and more editions and collectibles and series and lines all constantly is bad, because it's bad for your wallet and the environment and the people involved in the production of things. I think there has been enough talks about this, so we don't need to get into it. Let's just really stick with what it means for us at the very end of that line. But for me, at least, I found it doesn't make me happy. And I try to think about it. So sometimes, sure, you're like, well, I could get everything that I need like right now and then be done with it. But there's no fun in it. Then it's just overwhelm. And you're not a collector anymore. You're the owner of a collection. And actually, I think ball jointed dolls are a really great collecting hobby, because they really force you into a slower pace. Sure, consumerism is catching up with this hobby, which is sad. Learning the skills for this hobby takes time. Paying off a doll can take time. Waiting for a doll to be produced and shipped will take time. And getting a doll customized to a point where you like it takes time. And the good thing with dolls is that, of course, however you like to collect dolls and treat your dolls is your thing, and there's no one right way to do it. However, I think what most people in this hobby attracts to these dolls is how alive these collectibles are in a way. It's not that you buy a blind box and then you have a thing that looks pretty and you get this excitement when buying and opening it, and then it's kind of done again and then it just sits on your shelf or rots away in a box somewhere or in a drawer or is donated or given away because maybe you don't actually like it because it's not the one that you wanted. Yeah. Well, what I like about these dolls is how alive they are as collectibles. This works especially well if you are really into the storytelling and character development aspect of it. But it works too if you're not that heavy into the storytelling. Maybe you don't have a story for your characters. Maybe you just have a name. As long as you approach this from a semi-creative direction at least. You over the years, there's the excitement that comes with getting the doll. Then you have the doll and it's blank, so usually. So it needs a face up, it needs eyes, it needs a wig, it needs clothing, it needs a name. So many things to ponder and think about and really throw yourself into. Things that take time. Because maybe the first pair of eyes that you got doesn't properly fit. Or maybe you want to get into eye making yourself. And then the possibilities are endless. And then maybe the wig that you made or you bought kind of doesn't suit what you like anymore. So you rethink the whole thing, you redo the whole thing maybe. And then maybe at some point you find that it doesn't really bring you that much joy anymore. So you can take the doll and redo it. And of course these are ongoing processes of development, which are the fun of the hobby. While it is kind of unrealistic to say, oh, just have one or two, because these things are like potato chips. You can't just have one or two. Like her, for example, has gone through a lot. And sometimes, you have a doll and you really love this doll, but my God, this doll is so stubborn. Like, whatever you try with this doll, it just kind of doesn't work. Why? I mean, I've had this doll for like 8 years at this point. She went through multiple bodies. I am still considering renaming her. She has gotten new ears, which has added so much to her character. She has gone through multiple wigs, multiple face-ups, props, character designs that ended up kind of falling flat at some point, and now she's changing nationality even. I've started having more of a connection to her only recently. And I was also determined to have her on the Spirit Doll Smart Body because, my God, I wanted that body so badly. And I found it 2 years ago, secondhand, and I got it because, again, I have had a want to buy for this particular body for a very long time. And it's not a doll company that pops up a lot online secondhand, and I mostly just check Den of Angels. I'm not really a Facebook person. You won't get me there. Not happening. Yeah, and this way, like, every journey with every doll that you really love is just so intense and so special because it's so close to you that it's just like sticking with one thing. And sometimes I know I'm not immune at all. Consumerism and the kind of illusion of missing out and this like craze to like the urge and like the fast pace sometimes really messes with you to the point where you're just like, whoa, oh my God, like I need to get this like right now. And then it's always important, I find, to kind of take a step back and be like, wait a second. I've been in this hobby for a few years now. I've gotten my hands on rare dolls that are not so easy to get. There's some dolls I thought I might never have, like my Feeple 60 Shushu, which I love. This is also one of the rare occasions where the doll was there and I wanted the doll. And I was like, well, I don't have a character for her. I'm just starting fresh. With her and Stacy, it's kind of... I also have a Stacy. It's a little bit similar, although for her, initially I wanted to turn her into Grace. But then I turned my Doll Chateau Isabelle into Grace. So she's turning into someone else, but she kind of has a character, which adds new layers to the story, which is fun because now the story is developing too. And while getting a new doll will make you very happy, doing things with a doll and anticipating the doll and then thinking about things for the doll and what to do with the doll is what is actually the great thing about this hobby. And why I think we should all slow down a little bit and reevaluate our collections and not get too caught up with collecting trends. Because while, I don't know, I don't have an opinion on Labubus, they do kind of feel like the Stanley Cup thing. I understand why people love them. I understand why people hate them. It's just simply an illustration. I have nothing against these dolls. Personally, not my cup of tea, because I'm drinking out of this one. It's just kind of an illustration how consumerism is trying to ruin collecting, because they make it all about buying and having it. And the whole blind box thing, well, I was born in the 2000s. I'm a 2000s person. I don't know if people older than me can relate. But back then, we had tiny figurines. Like XYZ in my pocket was a huge thing when I was a child. I was really into it. There was jungle in my pocket. There was sea in my pocket. There was farm in my pocket. And then there was snow in my pocket. And you know what? Those flocked figurines, snow in my pocket, had double the length of hair. They were extra soft because those were Arctic animals. Those were Antarctic. Those were snow animals. And I was crazy about them. And yes, of course, I had the full collection. I was collecting them. And then I got like the whole set, the whole box for Christmas, which was exciting because I still have the box. I keep them all in the box. And then I gave them names. And then I played with them. And then they had intricate relationships with each other. And it was fun. It was fun. But you know what's also fun? Standing in the shop at the blind bag and feeling it. Like, I know people in my age group, we all have that skill. I don't know about other age groups and generations, but everyone in my age group, we all have that skill of feeling a bag and knowing exactly what's inside. You're looking for that one particular figure? Well, let me feel it out for you. And I miss those days a little bit, honestly. I also miss the In My Pocket series because they were actually cute. You know, but now you have these blind boxes. And personally, I don't like them. Because the fun of the bags is that you can figure out what's inside. And I know there's still certain guides as to what is inside. Like with the Miniverse stuff, you have like holes in special places that kind of tell you which one is inside. But you know, the tactility is gone. You just pick up a box. Like, the experience is gone. And if sometimes I go into shops and I see their like blind thingy stuff or mystery thingy stuff, and I'm tempted, and then I see the boxes and it's like, no. It's also not worth that much money. They used to be cheaper. Like, so many things. But the tactility is gone, which is something that's really important to me. Because I'm really, like, I love touching things. You know how there's this meme of if you are into sewing, it is your duty to touch every single fabric in the shop? Yeah, well, I take that to an extreme because I do actually touch almost every single fabric. You can't not do that. I mean, I have a great love for textiles in general. The collecting things kind of now is becoming more about buying and owning. Sure, it's always been, like, buying and owning has always been a part of it. And I'm not saying that back in the day things were nicer or, like, no. Buying and owning is always a part that is involved. But it used to not be so much about just buying and then just owning and then just displaying. And then you are kind of forced into buying something to display it. Like, they built special boxes so you can display it. And it's like, you know, I remember in primary school, I don't know if they were popular anywhere else, but in Germany, we had filly horses. We had multiple series. There were a lot of them. And sure, there was consumerism already very deeply ingrained in them. And I'm not saying that back then things were better. It's just, I'm biased because that's how I grew up. Wow. But there was just like a thing, you know, how like you would stand in the shop with your friends and you would touch it and you were like, oh, I really want this one particular horse. Let me find the one that I want. And then another girl in school would have it, you know? And of course, as a kid, you don't have a lot of money. Like back in the day, me now, I could probably just go and buy 20 of them at once. But where's the fun in that? No, the fun in that is that you got €2. You got a whole ass €2 to go and get one. So you better make that count. And that's why collecting is fun. You know? Because it gets loaded with so much emotion too. And you can figure out what's inside. Sure, you can be wrong, but you can be right. At this point, I'm good enough to almost always be right. And sure, there's like Playmobil collectibles and Lego collectibles where you can feel it. So the like tactile mystery collecting experience is not gone completely, but they're kind of erasing it, which is sad. And while with these dolls, sure there are Boldrona doll blind boxes, you can do so much with them. You can write about them. You can make YouTube videos. Hey! You can sew for them. You can crochet and knit for them. You can do literally everything with them. And really, if you are into minimalism, this is the best cheat. That's what I found, because I kind of got into minimalism at one point, and these dolls combine so many different craft hobbies that I was like, well, I'm gonna get rid of literally every single hobby and keep bulk jarted dolls, because it's cheating, because I'm actually keeping almost every single hobby, which for me is mainly sewing, which is my only other hobby if you don't count reading and making YouTube videos. Well, I have hobbies. I don't think I have any more points to make. On a final note, bulk jarted dolls are great because they slow the pace of collecting down. They're tactile. There is a lot of dreaming and a lot of anticipation. Like with Alan, as I mentioned before, I had him on my mind for 5 years. And I think that was the best time. Like, the best part of him was wanting him and not having him, which sounds backwards. But there is a lot of, like, wanting and dreaming about things is what gives those things meaning, not the having it, you know, obsessing over something. And then after years, finally getting it, you know, collecting should be slow. Because when I got Alan, I was so overwhelmed because I had put so much thought and energy into this dude, thinking about him, that when I got him, I did not know what to do with him. I was like, oh my God, what? Where am I starting? What do I have to do? I had to get a body, I had to make a wig, I had to paint the face, and it took me a embarrassingly long time to buy a body. I have him now. He is actually my most spoiled doll because literally almost every single prop belongs to him. But I don't feel like he got enough love and attention, and I'm slowly now coming out of that overwhelm. I got him in the year 2020. I got him in 2020. I got him 5 years ago. Well, I got him 5 years ago, and I'm only now slowly transitioning out of, like, coming out of the overwhelm. And I can focus on him now, which is great. You know, it's really a slow burn. It's a slow burn. And that's what makes it great. And then sometimes you struggle with dolls because you're so emotionally invested in them. And that's what is fun about them. Like, how much more meaningful is it to dream about owning a doll for years and then finally getting it? Isn't it? It's so much nicer than to just go say, hey, I have money, I'm gonna go and buy it. So if you feel like collecting has kind of lost its spark to you, I think the best thing to do is to slow down. Kind of refocus on what you already have and really focus in on it. And the more you focus on this one thing, the more meaning it gets. And the more invested you get, the more love you pour into it, the more love and joy you get out of it. Having 3 dolls that you have invested so much love and energy and time and dreaming and anticipating into will be so much nicer than having 100 dolls that just sit there, you know? Well, I mean, I have a few dolls. I have a lot of dolls. I have a pretty big family. I used to only have 2 dolls and then just keep dreaming about it. And that was really the time when I did the most with them. So maybe next time we should talk about overwhelm. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. Slow down with your collection. Enjoy the dolls that you have. Enjoy the dreaming and looking at dolls that you like and would like to have. But don't jump into getting everything at once because it won't make you happy. Don't forget to experiment either. And you know what? Go grab a dolly, get some love, and tell me what you think. What is the best part about collecting for you? Have you any thoughts about it? What are your thoughts? And what hot beverage are you having? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!